1:23:40 a.m., April 26, 1986. Control Room Number 4, Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant, Pripyat, Soviet Union. A 28-year-old engineer calls out to Anatoly Dyatlov. The test is behind schedule. The reactor has been unstable for hours. No one moves a finger. This is the story of the 3 seconds that destroyed an empire. At 1:23:40, operator Leonid Toptunov presses the AZ5 button, the emergency shutdown button. The manual says to press it when the reactor goes out of control. The reactor went out of control 40 minutes ago. No one pressed it. The button inserts 211 control rods into the core. Each rod has a neutron absorber at the tip. Graphite everywhere else. Graphite displaces water. Water cools. Graphite accelerates the reaction. The manual explains this on page 47. The manual was on the desk. No one read it. In the first 0.5 seconds, the rods begin to descend. Water flow drops. Steam bubbles rise. The RBMK 1000 reactor has a fatal flaw built into its soul. More steam means more power. More power means more steam. The manual called this a positive void coefficient. The engineers called it a joke. At 1 second, power jumps from 200 megawatts to 30,000. The sensors freeze. The needle hits the end of the scale and stops. There is no scale for what comes next. Toptunov looks at the screen. He does not understand what he sees. No one taught him. The manual did not have a section called "If the reactor explodes." At 2 seconds, the fuel melts. Uranium rods turn into liquid metal. Pressure rises to 400 atmospheres. The reactor's upper biological shield weighs 1,000 tons. It lifts 2 meters. This is not an explosion yet. This is the reactor holding its breath. At 2.5 seconds, the first steam blast tears through a fuel channel. The machine hall ceiling collapses. 50-ton concrete slabs fall. They hit the bubbler pool. The pool was empty. No one filled it before the test. The manual said to fill it. Page 72, paragraph 4. No one turned the page. At 3 seconds, the second explosion happens. Hydrogen accumulated in the core detonates. The energy released equals 10 tons of TNT. The reinforced concrete roof flies off. The reactor is naked. Incandescent graphite spews into the sky. The air turns purple. Radiation detectors go insane. The most sensitive needle reads 200 roentgens per hour. The real number is 20,000. Dyatlov looks at the dark room. The lights are gone. Concrete dust and steam cover everything. His first words, to no one, "This cannot be." It was not an accident. It was a consequence. Every decision in the 24 months before had an arrow pointing to this room. March 1984. The test plan begins. The goal is simple. Demonstrate that the turbine rotor can power the cooling pumps during the 45 seconds between a shutdown and the diesel generator startup. In Spain, plants have done this for years. In the USSR, the Energy Committee wants numbers. The first test happens in 1984. It fails. A voltage regulator burns out. The second test, months later, fails again. Aging equipment, September 1985. Third attempt. A senior engineer notes an irregularity in water flow. He shows his supervisor. The supervisor says to ignore it. The note disappears. The plant director, Viktor Bryukhanov, has one obsession: producing power. Chernobyl is one of the most efficient plants in the USSR. Bryukhanov wants to keep the record. The test gets in the way. He allows the team to cut protocol. Page 31 of the manual covers minimum safety protocols during tests. Bryukhanov's copy had page 31 torn out. He used it to write phone numbers. April 25th, 1986. Test day, The reactor operates at 3,200 thermal megawatts. The power reduction begins. Trained operators know the RBMK reactor does not like low power. It is unstable. It oscillates. It needs experienced operators. The night shift has experienced operators. The day shift does not. The test runs late. Moscow asks the plant to keep supplying power to a regional grid. Bryukhanov agrees. The test is delayed 9 hours. The day shift arrives. They are young. Toptunov is 25. His supervisor, Akimov, is 33. Neither has seen an unstable reactor before. The manual describes instability on page 89. The control room copy was on the shelf. Dusty. No one had opened it in 3 years. At 1:05 a.m., the reactor operates at 200 megawatts. It is too low. Too much steam. Cooling water circulates at the wrong rate. Almost all automatic control rods are withdrawn. Only 6 to 8 rods remain inserted. The regulatory minimum is 30. The manual says 15 is the lower design limit. Page 112. Table 4. No one had that page. Toptunov notices something strange at 1:22 a.m. Water flow dropped. He asks Akimov. Akimov asks Dyatlov. Dyatlov says to continue. Dyatlov is the chief test engineer. He survived World War II. He has seen worse. He is wrong. The manual, in Appendix D, contains a technical note on the positive displacement phenomenon. It is an equation with 6 variables. The result of the equation for the reactor state at 1:22 a.m. is imminent danger. No one calculated it. At 1:23:10, Toptunov reduces water flow further. Power begins to rise on its own. The reactor is now in autonomous mode. No operator controls anything. The manual has no instructions for this scenario. No one wrote that page. 30 seconds left. Dyatlov shouts to increase power. Toptunov withdraws more rods. The reactor responds with a thermal pulse. Pressure sensors trigger. Akimov suggests aborting. Dyatlov refuses. The test must finish. Moscow expects numbers. 10 seconds. Power doubles every 0.5 seconds. The automatic control algorithm loops. It tries to correct an error that grows too fast. Each correction makes the error worse. The manual did not anticipate that the control machine could kill the machine. 5 seconds. Toptunov puts his hand over the AZ5 button. He waits for an order. Akimov looks at Dyatlov. Dyatlov says nothing. 3 seconds. The power needle exceeds the scale for the 3rd time. Toptunov presses the button. From here, what happened is written in gray in the manual, not black ink. Gray means, this never happened before, so we did not include it. The 3 seconds that changed history were not the explosion. They were the 3 seconds before it. The silence, the hand over the button, the closed manual on the desk. The page no one read. At the National Museum of Chernobyl in Kyiv, there is a copy of that manual. It is open to page 47. Someone turned it years ago. No one knows who. The museum closes at 6 p.m. At 6:01, the guards turn off the lights and leave. The manual remains open in the empty room. No one watches the page that killed Pripyat. No one until now.